Why are they so long? Well, hello everyone. It is April and today I'm going to share with you all of the books that I really want to read in April. Let's get into it. I have a decent sized stack here. Hopefully I'll be able to get through all of them. But the first book that I would really love to read in April is The School for Good Mothers by Jessamine Chan. This sounds very upsetting, if I'm being honest. It sounds like my anxiety is going to go through the roof and I'm going to have to do some yoga or some like deep breathing to make my way through this book, because this is a book set in a kind of dystopian world where parents are on high alert. They are being watched by Big Brother constantly. Make one wrong move and you could have your child taken away from you. And that is exactly what happens to Frida. From the very beginning, the first line is, I think, "We have your child." "We have your daughter," yeah, is the first line. Terrifying. So she made a terrible mistake by leaving her daughter behind to run to the office really quickly to pick up some files from the office, and she ended up staying a little longer, and she left her, I think, 18-month daughter at home. Not advisable, not encouraged to do that, but she does that, and the government, the state, takes her daughter, and she ends up having to go to the School for Good Mothers in the hopes of getting her child back. And she has nothing else really going for her. Even if you did, I imagine you would drop everything in order to get your child back, but she feels like the only good thing that she really has done in her life is raise her daughter. And so this is an extreme blow for Frida. I've only just began it. Like I'm on page 5. Last night I finished In the Woods. While I'm filming this, last night I finished In the Woods by Tana French, and picked this up and promptly fell asleep. So that's my story, but I really want to read this so badly. I really love dystopian stories like this that make you think. I don't know if you got a chance to watch my spring TBR, but there's a lot of books on that TBR that are based around motherhood, and so you will see some of those creep in here. That was on that list, so yeah. Second up is the sequel, the second in the Dublin Murder Squad series by Tana French. This is The Likeness. The Likeness follows Cassie Maddox, who we did meet in the Woods. That's one thing that I really like about the concept of the series, is you do shift perspectives as you go and you meet different members of the Dublin Murder Squad. So in this book we follow Cassie. She is back in the Dublin Murder Squad because a woman found murdered is practically identical to Cassie, and she is carrying an ID identifying herself as Alexandra Madison, and that would be all fine and good if it was not an alias that Cassie herself used as an undercover cop. So what Cassie now has to do is go undercover herself once again and infiltrate into this dead woman's life to try to find out who killed her and also who she actually was. It sounds incredible. I really liked Cassie a lot in the Woods, so I know I'll be rooting for her here. I can't wait. I will say though, Tana French writes like beastly books. Like this is 700 pages long. Why are they so long? But I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. It will go down. Another book that I am actually listening to as we speak is That Kind of Mother by Rumaan Alam. I find this so very interesting. This is a book about a woman named Rebecca who has a baby and is very much struggling with those first few days, weeks, months of being a mother, very much struggling. She meets a woman named Priscilla at the hospital, and they just bond instantly. Rebecca is white, Priscilla is black. They bond, and Priscilla decides to actually help Rebecca in her home to take care of her son, Jacob. So she comes on as a kind of nanny, and they become very close. Now, over the course of the time that Priscilla is taking care of Jacob, I think he's turning like 2, Priscilla says to Rebecca, by the way, I'm not leaving you, but I am pregnant. Now, Priscilla in childbirth passes away, and Rebecca decides to take her son, Priscilla's son, Alexander. I'm trying to remember his name now. That's just happened. She decides to take him and raise him. And it's about the implications of that, the issues surrounding that. And it's very interesting so far. Like, genuinely, it's kind of surprising because Rumaan Alam, he's a man, but he has gotten into the mind of a new mother well, at least it feels like it very, very much. It really brought back some memories for myself of like trying to find your place, trying to just get through the day without any sort of schedule. And if you are someone who needs a schedule, it can be like thrown off, and it can be difficult to say the least. And I just started it, but like he's got it. He's got it. He's a great author. I think I've read one other book by him. And yeah, so I am reading this in April for sure. I never got around to reading The Appeal in March, which is a shame because this is so high on my list of books that I want to read. So I'd like to make it happen in April. The Appeal follows a drama club. It's a cast of characters who come together to put on a play. Now, the directors of this show have a granddaughter who is quite ill, and many people in this play pool together some money to go to her medical expenses so she can take part in some experimental treatment. Some of them are for this experimental treatment, some of them are not. In any case, on the day of the dress rehearsal, a body is found. And what we are doing is following 2 detectives going through all of the evidence and trying to figure out who killed this person, what was the motive, all of that. And so you're reading letters and text messages and all of that. And so you kind of become a detective yourself, which is like a dream. Not in reality, because I just don't think that I would do well in that job, but I like doing it in fiction. And so here we are. I've heard only good things about this. This was on so many people's like best books of 2021. So yes, I need to read that. Next is The Patron Saint of Liars by Ann Patchett. This follows a woman named Rose. She lives in Kentucky, and she is pregnant with a child that she doesn't want. And she decides to go to St. Elizabeth's, a home for unwed mothers. And the plan with this home is you go there, you give birth, you give the baby up for adoption. And that's what happens here in this home. However, Rose gives birth to little Cecilia and decides that she cannot give her up for adoption, and they end up staying at this place and meeting other mothers and I hope forming, you know, wonderful friendships. I don't know what to expect here, except I know that Ann Patchett writes really, really beautifully, and so I'm expecting something good to come from this. Now, I don't know if this was her first book. I have a feeling it was. So we'll see what happens with her debut, but yes, I'd love to read that. And last but not least is Mrs. England, which is a Gothic story written by Stacey Halls. And this follows a woman who was a nurse and she decides to go and stay and take care of the England children at this beautiful home. It is the early 1900s, and when she arrives, it is a beautiful home. The children are great. Everything is good, but Mrs. England, something is off about Mrs. England, and she wants to put her finger on it. At the same time, she is hiding secrets herself that she doesn't want found. So I think it will be really interesting to see these two women interact. I love Stacey Hall's writing, so I have some really good authors on this list. I have a feeling I'm going to have yet another amazing reading month. So those are all of the books that I desperately want to read in April. What are you reading in April? Do you have a plan of attack? What do you like to read at this time of year? I'm a big fan of like mother books and I don't know, like flowery, gardeny books, historical fiction, that kind of vibe. I'd love to know what you like to read at this time, and I will chat with you very soon. Bye, guys.